Ashton TV, joined by manager Steve Cunningham after the 1-1 draw at Hyde United. Steve, cracking response.
Yeah, I think everyone will be waiting to see what I say this week, based on my last interview. You know, I meant every word I said, and you're looking for players to respond, you're looking for your staff to respond, and I certainly was looking to respond as well. What I would say is the support that I had from that interview, by the way, has been top class from a lot of fans, from a lot of other clubs, and also players and ex-players. But the biggest response and the biggest compliment I wanted was for my players, because I wanted them to showcase how good they are and also see what sort of size kahunas. So I think today we've shown how good we can be. When you get beat 7-1, that hurts. And when you come away to your biggest rival in the league in terms of geographic area, away from home in front of a great crowd, they're coming off the back of some good results. We're both playoff contenders. You've got to show some mettle, and I think every single player today did that and more, because some people will question, would those players play for you? Well, I think they certainly played for me today. Don't get me wrong, I'm certainly not going to let it paper over cracks, because at the end of the day, we still want to be better, we still want to be winning games of football, but I do feel that coming away to Hyde United, which is a tough place to come and get a result, I think first half, I will say the fans have to realise we've worked on something. When you get beat 7-1 and the goals we've been conceding, we had to change something, and we went into a certain shape and a certain sort of compactness that I think was demonstrated today in the first half and second half. Now, we did end up being a little bit deeper than we planned to be, but apart from a couple of chances, I don't think either keeper actually had loads of work to do. So I thought we was very good and compact.
Well, I was going to say that, because you look at the first half, there's three chances in the game going at one apiece. How it ends, John Easterman doesn't have a save to make.
Yeah.
There's the one where he flashes across the box and Gilly can't quite get on the end of it. But other than that, there's not much in it.
No, and they'll probably think that they've dominated the game, and some of our fans who don't really know what we've tried to execute today will think they've dominated the game. What we've done is we've had 11 players today sit behind the ball and work hard for each other. And when we went forward, they had to recover and sprint in to make sure that we had 11 players behind the ball, or certainly 10 players or 9 players, because we haven't been doing that. And at times, people think we just sat in, but the amount of turnovers that Hyde had in the first half and the second half played into our hands, because we played for that. The only thing that let us down then was, if you're going to be compact and a little bit deeper, you've got to take care of the ball. And I just think first half we was better with the ball and we looked more threatening going forward. But second half we didn't really hurt them. And when we got into good areas, I think the tiredness kicked in from us, because I think fans can't question our players running today, because they were all on they were on the bums there at the end. Sat on the pitch, in the changing room. I thought they were sulking, but they're not. They all just said we're just knackered. And I'll take that. I think that's a great performance away from home.
Obviously, Stockton on Saturday, we know Scotston have had eyes here today. They've been sat next to us doing commentary. Up there, top of the league, the promoted sides, we often see it from the North East, the promoted sides coming up and doing well in the Northern Premier League Div 1 Premier League. It's not going to be easy.
No, it won't, but they probably won't recognise the team today that played against Macclesfield, and they certainly won't recognise them next week, because all them 11 players that I said I was going to bring in, all the 7 days are all up, so I can actually sign 9 of them for Stockton. So,
well, no. I was going to say that. You said on Saturday there's going to be a different side. Obviously, we know the regulations. Me and you know that in non-league, but can you just elaborate why we've seen much of the same side here today as we have at Macclesfield?
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got 7 days since the last game, and the rules are, if you want to sign players that are obviously with a club, you've got to put a 7-day notice period on them. You can't speak to a player until the following Sunday, if that's the case, and you've got to make sure you bring in the right players in. There's a lot of players contracted as well that you might want, so you're finding a players on contract in the North West counties, it changes your game plan a little bit. But I'm also looking to see what kind of response my players have got, because I've backed them. And regardless of me saying I'm bringing players in, show that you want to be here. And it weren't just for lip service. I am bringing in some players because we need it. Because we're just lacking in certain profiles of what I need to make sure if we're going to go forward with what we want to execute, I do need 2 or 3 players. They will be coming to the football club, there's no doubt about that. I could be announcing a new coach as well sometime this week. So everything I said last week is true. And I'm not going to go away from that. It weren't lip service. But I've certainly seen a reaction today that allows me to say to my players, all right, I might not need 11, 12, 13 new players. I might not need to let anybody go, but I need 3 or 4 to come in, create competition that if they're not happy sitting on the bench, they'll leave. And if they're not happy, they'll leave. And if I think they're not going to offer what I need, they are going to go. So that doesn't change. But I think today was about how we can turn last week's negative into a real positive. I think the fans have got to be happy with what they saw. They saw a team today come to a local rival, regardless of what game's next, Stockton, because that will be a tough game. There's no doubt about that. They've started fantastic. But it was all about today. You know, even fireworks now coming out, they're happy to celebrate that we drew.